Let's take a look at color correcting our photos inside of Adobe Premiere Pro. We're going to go ahead and start by opening up our Bedtime Stories project, double clicking on the folder, and then double clicking on our Premiere Pro project inside of that folder. To save some space on our screen, I'm going to go ahead and close that window in the back there so we just have Adobe Premiere Pro open. A nice clean work environment for us to be able to focus on the task at hand. Now in our last step, we added our photos to our project and we resized them and rotated them in order to have them fit on screen as best as we can. In this step, we're going to learn how to color correct our photos so that we can make them look as good as they possibly can. The very first thing we're going to want to do is move our playhead all the way back to the beginning of our video just by clicking and dragging on our playhead here. But first, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's do our usual check and make sure your screen looks like mine. We'll go up to Window at the top, go to Workspaces, and select Editing. Then we'll go to Window at the top, Workspaces, and we will select Reset to Saved Layout. Next, we're going to slide our playhead all the way to the left until we reach the beginning of our edit. Now, the next thing we're going to do is go up to Window, and this time we're going to select Lumetri Color. And this is the main color correction interface for Adobe Premiere Pro. We're going to click on our first photo, and then we're going to be able to do our color correction using this panel on the right. Now, I like to just go straight down the list here, starting with temperature, tint, saturation, exposure, contrast, just working our way all the way down the list here. There's not going to be a right or wrong answer for what these numbers should be. The trick is just making it look as good as it can to your eye. So I'm going to start with temperature, sliding it left, sliding it right, and just seeing where we think it looks the best. Maybe something like that. And again, your numbers should not match mine, but we're just experimenting by adjusting the sliders left, adjusting them right, and trying to see what number they look the best at. So there is not a right or wrong here, just trying to make it look as good as we possibly can. Your numbers will not be the same as mine. And we don't really care what each of these names mean when we're seeing exposure, contrast, highlights, all of that. We don't really care what it means. We just care, does it look good? So again, just going straight down the list here, getting it to look as good as we possibly can. And I think that looks pretty good here. Now, one quick note, if you're not seeing the same tools on screen that I am, you might have to open up the Basic Correction menu. Just click on the name Basic Correction, and that's where you can find all of these settings that we are tweaking today. So I think that looks pretty good for the first photo. We'll go ahead and move the playhead to the second one. Click on our second photo. And again, we're just going right down the list, starting with temperature, and then adjusting the tint, adjusting the saturation, and then adjusting the exposure, and always just working our way straight down the list here, trying to get it to look as good as it possibly can. And once again, your numbers will not be the same as mine. They should not be the same as mine. Do not just copy the numbers that I'm using here because it will not work for you. You will want to use your own numbers, your own settings, and trust your own eyes. So that's the second photo done. We'll move on to the third. Again, just moving the playhead to our third photo, clicking on the third photo, and using those sliders once again. Sliding it left, sliding it right, and just seeing where it looks as good as it can. So just going all the way down our list here, one at a time. Making sure it's not too bright, but making sure it's also not too dark. Just trusting the process, touching each of these one at a time, making it look as good as we possibly can. And maybe something like that. So instead of explaining my way through every single part of this process here and allowing you to see every single clip color corrected, just like before, I'm going to go into montage mode here, but we're using the same exact process, just going down the Lumetri list and adjusting each of these settings to make it look as good as we can. I'll see you on the other side of this edit. And we have reached the end of our edit here. So if we take a look at some of these photos, we can do a before and after by clicking on the checkbox on our Lumetri panel. And you can see that this really makes quite a bit of a difference on our photos here. So as always, let's make sure we save our work. We'll go up to File at the top and select Save. And again, we'll want to make sure that we're taking a screenshot to show that we have completed this step of the process. So maybe in your screenshot, just make sure that I can see maybe one of your wide shots on your photos where I can really easily see that you have done the color correction, because it really does make a really big difference with the before and after. So that's how I'll be able to check. It's just by seeing just how much of a difference that adjustment makes. So take your screenshot with that Windows F10 to show me at least one of your photos with that color correction on it. And I will see all of your finished color correction work once we save our video in the final steps of this process. But for now, turn in your screenshot on Google Classroom. And if you're interested in seeing my version of the edit at this stage in the process, then check out the edit here. Otherwise, I will see you all back in class.
One day at the basketball court. Hey, want to play a game of horse? Horse? Yeah, the game where one person shoots any kind of shot, layup, jumper from half court, bounce shot, whatever. The other player has to shoot the same shot or else that player gets a letter. Spell horse and it's giddy up, you're out. Right, we call it ghost where I come from, but the game's the same. You start. Okay, layup with my eyes closed. Wait, that's how you play? That's just too easy. We'll be here all day. Oh, I was just starting easy. I figured I'd give you a chance before you got horsed or ghosted or whatever. Don't be easy on me now. Be easy on yourself. Maybe you want to practice a little first. I do not need practice to beat some old ghost jump. Why don't you start? Okay, I'm going to stand here at half court with my back to the hoop. I'm going to skyhook this ball clear across the court into that basket with my eyes closed, standing on one foot, over my left shoulder. Didn't know I could go left, did you? You're probably a specialist in left. Left back, left behind, left out. Well, school's starting now. Get a pencil because I'm going first. You see that building over there? Way over there? The white building? No, the one next to it. I can barely make out the windows. Yep, that one. I'm going to climb to the roof of that building, up 437 flights of stairs. When I get there on the roof of the building 437 stories high, I will first calculate the wind speed and direction, then, ever so carefully, I will stand on one tiny tiptoe, balance myself on the topmost corner of the 437-story building, and shoot a perfect layup with my left foot. Now you tell me?
All right, and that's where we will end this video. Thank you so much for joining me in playback, and I will see you all back in class. Bye now.